Okay. Hi, my name is Parker Ballard. And today I'm going to be talking about the con side of should there be stricter control over who can own and use guns. This is a very commonly debated topic. We have a Second Amendment about it, of that everyone has the right to bear arms. And so that's something that's very commonly talked about. But in the recent years, with an increase in school shootings, with the increase in gun violence, there is a need to talk about it and to find a solution to best know how to help this problem. And so to kind of give some more background, in 2020, it was the largest year for gun violence. It was an increase of 40% with over 45,000 deaths due to gun violence, which is a lot. It is a problem. We need to do something to be able to fix it. But now the question kind of is increasing gun restrictions the way to go? Like, is that actually going to be solving the problem? And I kind of focus on that today by covering 3 points of that: guns aren't being obtained legally in the first place by criminals, so increasing restrictions wouldn't be able to have an effect. The other would be education among those that are committing gun violence and kind of how that's affecting their brains and what's happening to them. And the last one is kind of the mental health of people that do it. So to kind of start off with some history of how guns have been obtained in the past, in the school shooting of Sandy Hook, which was the second largest school shooting, it was a 17-year-old boy is how it kind of started, and he wanted to go and he wanted guns. He wanted to go shoot the school before he'd even turned 18, but he'd asked people to get the guns for him, and they said no. They said they're not going to do that for him. But that didn't stop him when he turned 18. In a complete legal process, he went and he bought himself guns. He got ARs, he got pistols, and he went into the school and killed many children and teachers. The point that I want to kind of bring out with this is that it was done very legally, of that there wasn't anything wrong. There's nothing that they could have found that had indicated problems in the past, nothing that could have been down a problem in the future. The main problem that could have existed is, why was he doing it in the first place? Like, what was the problem of the Sandy Hook shooter to why was he doing the gun violence in the first place? Because the restrictions, the laws we have, didn't do anything to stop him. So the question is, what needs to be done to prevent it from even happening in the first place? And so to kind of go more into how, to kind of hop into that more, there's a few reasons that people think gun violence is increased, and one of them is education. It is shown that about 21% of gun violence happens by people with a education less than a high school education. And studies have shown, the University of Warwick did a study, that if you increase the education of someone, the amount of gun violence drops. Whether it's education in guns themselves, of gun safety, how to use them appropriately, like what they're for, but also in doing it in just math, science, English. Just having a higher education in someone lowers the probability of them committing violence. And so instead of focusing on it should be harder to obtain guns, we should be increasing the education to help the people and benefit society instead of just taking something away. The other aspect that's kind of brought into this is the aspect of mental health. Research has shown that most people that commit gun violences, or especially in school shootings, have had some either mental illness, some substance abuse, or like poor socioeconomic support. They're missing something, or they're having something else that builds onto them then doing their act of violence. And so if we had a way of something to focus on that, of helping kids with mental illness, giving them support they need, it'd be a better way of helping lower gun violence than putting restrictions on the gun. And the last point I would kind of want to bring up is most criminals don't obtain their guns legally. The University of Chicago, they did a study, and of all the criminals that they talked to, only 7% of them obtained their guns legally. They did it through other fashions, other channels to obtain their guns. And furthermore, only 2% of them obtained them through like retail stores, where most normal citizens get their guns and things like that. So the point that I kind of want to make is, by increasing gun restrictions, it isn't prohibiting the criminals where the large scale of the gun violence is occurring. It's affecting those good, normal, safe citizens. And so to kind of wrap up, the point I want to give up is, like, increasing gun restrictions isn't solving the problem in the first place. We need to have a way of preventing it before they even get the guns, before they even have the thought of using the guns for gun violence. And by increasing education, helping mental health, and kind of getting it to stop before it gets there, we can solve that problem.